Hello, and welcome to our final look at the spring wildflowers of LaGrange County Nature Preserve in LaGrange, Indiana. My name is Leslie Arnold, and I'm the naturalist for LaGrange County Parks and Recreation. This video is going to focus on the four most common late spring wildflowers in the preserve. If you'd like to see these wildflowers in bloom, please visit us in May. We'll start with one of the most recognizable and truly unique wildflowers of Indiana, May apple. May apple has an umbrella-like appearance. There is always a main supporting stem with either one lobed leaf or a fork and two lobed leaves. Only the plants with the fork will have a single white flower with 6 to 9 petals suspended right at that junction. The fruit is an egg-like green-yellow berry, about 2 inches long, hence the name May apple. The flower blooms in May, but the fruit is not ripe until much later in summer. The fruit is edible, but there are some warnings that eating too many can cause some intestinal issues. The rest of the plant is poisonous. Be on the lookout for dense colonies of green umbrellas. The name Jack in the Pulpit comes from the plant's resemblance to a preacher giving a sermon from a roofed pulpit. The flower structure is the pulpit or spathe, a small, long, pitcher-shaped tube with a hood, and the spadix, or the jack, inside. There are lots of color variations, especially for the underside of the hood: green, purple, white, stripes, or solid. This plant is very common in shady, moist woods and is a fun one to see. Both mayapple and Jack in the Pulpit are easy to recognize. But now we'll look at two plants that are more difficult to identify because they have lookalikes. The differences between anise root and hairy, sweet Sicily are very subtle, but they are there if you look for them. Anise root typically has smooth stems instead of hairy stems. The styles of the flowers are longer than the petals, and the styles become a longer pointy tip on the end of the fruit. Also, the fern-like leaves of anise root and the root itself do have an anise or licorice smell. I have chosen to identify this plant as anise root because of the smooth stems. There is just no hair whatsoever on the stems of this plant. But if you are a botanist and you're watching this and you disagree, please let us know, because we are always learning. Our last flower is appendaged waterleaf. This is a biennial, single-stemmed plant with bristly hairs. The flowers are lavender or pale pink purple color. You will see the flowers at the top of the stem rising up above the leaves. The upper leaves of this plant have a maple leaf appearance, which can cause some identification confusion with Canada waterleaf, which I have also seen called maple-leaved waterleaf. But Canada waterleaf has smooth stems with white flowers. And to compare, the white flowers will be positioned lower than the leaves, almost hidden in the leaves. Appendaged waterleaf gives the woods one final pop of color, as everything else is really turning green. I hope you have enjoyed looking at some late spring woodland wildflowers. References for this talk are Michael Hamoya's Wildflowers and Ferns of Indiana Forest, Lawrence Newcomb's Wildflower Guide, Wild Food Plants of Indiana by Alan McPherson and Sue Clark, and the Indiana State Parks brochure, Common Spring Wildflowers of Indiana State Parks. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoy our trails.